update on that in light of the fiasco of them scheduling and canceling the meeting. And as far as the ambulance goes, I filed a right to know request for the audits. There was nothing provided for 2015 to 18. So were they done? Were they done and not provided?
They were done and
were they
provided.
lost?
I can't answer that question.
Well, then I guess we'd say it's Heather's fault. So I'll follow up on that next week. You know, and the audits, you know, it's a review. It's not like the audits of the borough gets done. It's basically they tell the CPA something. He doesn't check into it. He doesn't get any paperwork. He just signs his name and says, yeah, I reviewed it. It doesn't talk about if there's $100,000 in loans already floating around out there. And, you know, in the past when there have been payments made to the ambulance, they've been put onto the list of bills. I should not have to file a right to know request to know what the borough spent. The list of bills should be comprehensive and should match up to the checks. You guys gave them $7,725.68 in 2024 tax money without disclosing it and without approving it in a meeting. I'll give you a pass on the 1446.67 because that was probably from the end of 2023's collections. But I said, put the money in that escrow account until they succeed. If they fail, then you hold the money and use it for something else. Obviously, you've made your decision that you're going to give them the money. And Mr. Ritchie, I told the solicitor that if you're going to put me on a clock, you better put everybody on the clock. You let other people speak for 15 minutes on video. I will sue for a violation of civil rights. I expect to be treated with respect and the same as any other citizen. Last warning.
So just to touch on that, the reason that those citizens were given more time is because they were involved in a conversation with council members. So I pause the timer when council members are speaking and then start the timer again when they begin speaking. That's the way it's done. If it's a monologue, I'm going to let the timer go, sir. Anyone else?
You were saying that you'd be able to cover 16 to 20 hours with the 8 people that you should be able to get for the ambulance. So we still have hours that we're going to be calling each way.
Correct, but also, we would also be looking to hire more people. The difference is between immediate availability and what we're going to have in 2 or 3 months.
And the finances, you would definitely be able to hire. Like you would have enough finances to cover how many more?
It's not a matter of how many more, it's a matter of the total number of hours in a year. The math works out to about 350,000 total, okay? And that's in, you have to understand, that's also including not only the salary budget, that is including the insurances on the vehicles, malpractice, the building, all that. Believe it or not, supplies is our smallest list. Fuel, as you know, keeps going up and up and up. Diesel costs more than anything else. So when you add all that together, that's what it comes up. The billing company, the new billing company charges less, so there's more money in our pocket. We can now Medicaid, which is the majority of the people that we bill for, is Medicaid, not Medicare, but either way, Medicaid and Medicare can be the same dollar amount. And we can charge for mileage. So when you add those factors in, that's almost 80,000 a year we can get in now that we couldn't get in last year. See, the more you're in service, the more calls you get. Basically, simple answer. We actually had, when we were in service, a 2-week period where we had like 2 calls. The whole region had no calls. It was just lucky that nobody was needing an ambulance.
And I have a question too then regarding, because obviously when you go and purchase this building and you're going to lease it, will the taxpayers, will we be able to, I don't want to say be a part of, but when you do the contract of how it's actually going to work, yes, we can stand up for our minutes and give our opinion. Is it going to be listened to if there's something that we feel that might be added to the contract? Like, are you gonna, or are you just gonna say? Okay,
Well, to be clear, it's not a contract. This would be a purchasing the building. We're talking a lease agreement, you mean?
The lease agreement,
Yes, yeah. Certainly, I mean, we would put that out there. for the public to look at beforehand. And I would certainly be willing to listen to people's opinions on it. And if there was, you know, something valid that somebody wanted to have added in there, have something changed, brought to our attention, absolutely would change that, yeah. Yeah, look, I'm open to anything. My goal here is twofold. One is to protect the borough. And for me, that's the safety of the citizens and the borough itself. We've already given the Freeland ambulance hundreds of thousands of dollars, as already been pointed out. We have two options here. We can cut the cord and let them die out and walk away from it, or we can try and do something that, in my opinion, is the best option for us, which is purchase the building. We're not giving them any money. We're not giving them anything extra. It's a purchase, right? So we're getting a building in the end. They're getting funds so that they can operate properly and get themselves back on their feet. But that's kind of where that ends. You know, I mean, for us moving forward, yeah, obviously to keep that lease, they've got to keep up with whatever we put into that agreement. And for me, that's more transparency, at the very least.
Back to you, Frank, real quick. Would the ambulance, if God forbid, money, you know, gas, like you said, who's going up, whatever. Is the ambulance going to be looking into doing any fundraisers? Or talking more to Foster Township to see if they're going to be?
It's
or
my
did you already-
understanding that Foster Township is a definite yes,
Okay.
okay? The fundraiser part is, unlike the fire company, we don't really have volunteers. So it'd be very, very few people that would be doing a lot of work, okay? Now, some of the paid people, if they want to do, you know, help out, that's fine. But I've already looked into it with wage and hour, where they say paid people can volunteer to do duties. That's okay with wage and hour. But if the people say no, we're back to the same 2, 3, 4 people trying to run a whole fundraiser. So that's why things like a hoagie sale is out and stuff like that. A raffle, certainly reasonable. We did get a small game of chance license the end of last year, which we did nothing with because we didn't know what was going to happen.
So you have that license?
Yes, yes.
So.
And one thing I would like to say, everyone's beating about how much the borough gave and everything else. That money all went out to salaries because the volunteers don't exist anymore. That's where the money went.
Oh.
Yeah.
Joe Marmello, Ridge Street. If you don't buy this building, something happens, people are gonna complain. If you buy it, you're already complaining, so you can't win. I figure it's better to err on the side of, I'd rather have somebody complain 6 months down the road, saying you shouldn't have bought it, they went out of business anyway, but in those 6 months, somebody got saved. With that said, I think Linda just brought it up about fundraisers and things like that. Ask your cousin, your neighbor, your friend, whoever, to volunteer to help because they need to raise money for whatever until, you know, hey, even if they make enough money with the calls and because of this and everything's rolling along, doesn't hurt to have a little extra money. So, you know, the fire department's able to do it because they got a lot of people that volunteer. And, you know, hey, make it a group effort. Maybe there's some way where the fire department and the ambulance can get together and split. You know, you have 10 ambulance people and 10 fire people, you split some hoagie money, whatever it is. But we need volunteers in every way, shape, or form. We just can't, you know, that's the problem. We don't have enough volunteers and people fight. So you can't win. You're doing a fine job. You're trying to do what's right. And you're gonna have complaints, and don't fail. I'm just, you know, you can't fail with this ambulance because I just want everybody who's against this happening to be wrong because, no offense to them, but I want the ambulance in Freeland because I'm getting older and I think I'm gonna have a stroke one day and need it. So, just kidding, I hope not, but, you know, people I know, you just know it. So, it's good to have them, and as for the 24-hour thing, it's, you know, 20 hours a day is better than 0, 16 hours better than 0. So whatever we can do to get volunteers, please, you know, get out there and do it.
the only two people that are not under the constraints of salary are Mary Beth Gallagher and myself. So if I decide I can do 7 days a week.
You know, Frank, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't wanna hear about people who are on ambulance that get paid for the stuff they do. You know what? If you get paid for 8 hours, come and volunteer for 2 hours. And shut up. Or you're not gonna have an ambulance, you're not gonna have those 8 hours.
When you're paid, it's
Not
up to
being-
the people if they wish to.
You know, you can or you can't, but as I said before, to those people that we're talking about who get paid, get your friend, get your wife, get somebody you know who's not on the ambulance to come volunteer. It doesn't take much, you know, because they're the first people that complain about an ambulance, but then when they need it, they complain it's not there. But it's like, well, if you would have just volunteered, we would have an ambulance. So, and not we as in Freeland, like wherever this is happening, this is happening everywhere. So, you know, people need to volunteer. I don't care if they're working there or not. So,
Hey, Joe, are you a member of the ambulance board now?
I am.
Okay, thanks for letting us know.
Is that all right with you?
Just so everybody knows where you're coming from in what you said.
I'm coming from, I live in Freeland, Matt, okay?
Okay.
And I could be on that board or not on that board, and I still say the same thing. You're on that council with me for 2 years, and you know
All
that.
right, I'm gonna interrupt both of you guys. Anytime that the public is up there speaking, your comments should only be directed at council. This is not a chance for the public to speak to each other in any way, shape, or form. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. Yeah, well, yeah, we're adjourning the meeting. Have a good night.